Oh, well, look at that.
The countdown feels like forever when you just want to get to your guests. So, presenting sponsors, you're up quick.
Thank you to our presenting sponsors. Canine Cruise is the place to take your pet. They offer dog and cat boarding, dog daycare, pet retail, and mindful day school. Tons of indoor space and a spacious yard. Canine Cruise is your one-stop shop for professional pet care in Chicago. Bark Pouch makes 5 mess-free lickable treat recipes in 2 sizes for a delightful time with your dog. Their grab-and-go pouches make perfect gifts for the dogs on your holiday list. For more, go to barkpouch.com. Kiki's Corner Natural Pet Foods in downtown Winfield, just a block south of CDH Hospital and the railroad tracks. Kiki's has all your food and health aid needs for dogs and cats. Kiki's Corner for a healthy, happy pet.
Thank you, sponsors. I never want to rush through you. Just, that was not good of me. I love you, sponsors. Abby. So Abby is the type of friend where I might not talk to her for 6 months and bang, there she is on my texts. And I love it because we always pick up right where we left off. So hello, Abby. How are you? Felines and Canines Queen, yep. I'm going to call you.
Queenish. That's right. Hey, Sarah. How are you? It's good to see you.
Yeah, that actually, you're the mastermind, I should say. That's probably better. So good to see you. I have like a million questions for Abby because it's been a while since we've caught up. But you've been there since 2002.
So I've been with Felines Inc., Felines and Canines Rescue Center since. I don't know, I'm coming up on 23 years, which is ridiculous. So it's 2010. Yeah, 2002. It's just crazy how it's just gone by like in a minute.
Yeah. And now you have an Alabama shelter, and that's where you live.
Yes. Yeah, it's kind of crazy. So we had found that there were a lot of animals being euthanized, like all over the place, that were super sweet, friendly, healthy, wonderful animals. And we decided to build a facility here. And in 6 years, we're approaching 20,000 lives saved, which is pretty amazing. So super proud.
So I'm going to start with this. I was going to wait for a little while to bring this up because I know that we talked about this on the first podcast, and I really have strong feelings about it, and I know you do too. Number one, you did so much great in Chicago.
Thank you.
But you saw this need in Alabama and literally built a shelter and moved there so you could be close to it. We still see in Chicago people bitching and complaining that that rescues are bringing in dogs from the South or not taking dogs from animal control or not taking dogs from local animal controls. Yeah. And they can't understand why these rescues are not taking from our own backyard shelters. So I want you to again explain the absolute hell that the animals in Alabama are living in.
Yeah, well, it's a combination of things. We're very fortunate that in Chicago, there are so many resources that they don't have in the South, quite frankly. And, at Animal Care and Control, a lot of times there were, rescue groups kind of fighting to save the same animals. And, when we used to go there, it was really challenging for us to get safe, healthy, friendly animals out of there because all the other rescue groups were taking them, which is an amazing problem. So we had to kind of put the net out a little bit further to find what we were looking for. And, we also transport 2 Chicago rescues. And, the whole issue is that there's a pit bull problem all around the country. And we, out of respect for our Chicago animals, we're not sending any pit bulls anywhere. Alabama has a pit bull problem just like Chicago does, but I kind of feel it's really disrespectful to send pit bulls to a place that already has a lot of them. So what we specialize in is sending animals that will bring adopters into your place so that you can move your pit bulls, because people aren't going to be able to see 20 pit bulls and make decisions. But if you see, 5 of them in the middle of some shepherds and some labs and some, different types of terriers or collies, there's a better opportunity for those animals to move as well because they don't all blur into one. And, my background is in retail, and I understand that places need to look kind of, like they have a bunch of variety in order for more animals to go home. So we did this out of necessity. And then, like I said, the conditions here in Alabama for these animals, I know it's distasteful to say, but animal control in some other parts of the world are like the Taj Mahal compared to what we're seeing here. Animals are getting shot. They are, they're just being abused and neglected in ways that we just don't see very often anywhere else. And, it just pulled at us to help as many as we possibly can and make our resources go as far as they possibly could. So, and again, I think 20,000 animals saved in 6 years just kind of shows that that we were right in coming here.
Yeah, and for me, and a lot of the people that I surround myself with, I think if you're saving animals, you should be applauded. And for those that are constantly, why would you take these animals from the South instead of saving? I love your marketing strategy. I mean, it's brilliant, honestly, and it makes sense.
And it does. It really, if you think about it, it does help the local animals get adopted. You cannot walk into a facility and have 30 pit bulls and nothing else, because your adopters are going to get overwhelmed and walk away. They all look alike. They all have, and you're just, unless they want a pit bull, it's just not going to be successful. But if you walk in and there's a lab and there's a collie and there's a shepherd and there's a pit bull and there's a small terrier, that pit bull actually stands out now. And somebody may just be like, Mike, that's the cutest thing I've ever seen. And it helps your animals move through. So, and also there are plenty of places that are helping, locally. And we'll take any beaten up cat in Chicago. That's our gig. If you get a fat-faced FIV cat who's gotten his butt kicked, and he's coming to me. That's just how it is. But I just feel like I get where people are coming from, but the reality is it's just not everybody can help Chicago animals and move them through their system to help more Chicago animals, and getting clogged up right now is really a challenge that we want to stay away from, because it doesn't help as many animals. So
and especially right now when we
right now is a challenge.
Shelter crisis. So just to kind of like a personal question, but how hard was it for you to move from Chicago to Alabama, which is literally the opposite of Chicago?
Yeah. So, looking as I do, and, I'm married to a woman and we work together. And, if you've ever seen Kelly, she's the uber femme and I'm the typical butch. And, I'm a Jewish lesbian who's over 40. So, I had a bunch of things going against me. But I will say this, in the grand scheme of things, I rescue animals. And if you can be not horrible in the way you present yourself, and I'm not one of those, I'm not an angry lesbian anymore. That was in my early years. I'm a calm, lesbian who goes out and rescues animals. So there's not a lot of me to dislike on the surface, if you will. So coming to Alabama has been a beautiful thing for us. We've had a wonderful experience. Nobody's been outwardly aggressive towards us or even mean towards us. And honestly, when I'm in the really bad parts of Alabama where we go, I sit in the car because I'm not looking for a fight. But it's very, very rare. I found that, Kentucky was the place that really scared me. And that's where we were thinking of opening our center. But Alabama has just been nothing but very open to us and very accepting of us. And we've been very fortunate. We've got a beautiful property that we own on 3 acres. That's my home. And our rescue center is on 10 acres, and it's a wonderful place for the animals to sit until they go. So I think we've made some good decisions. And again, I'm semi-disarming. So I haven't had a lot of issues or problems. And, what's to hate about somebody who comes in and saves animals? So it's been very, very nice for us.
I love that. And that's very nice to hear on a day like today, for sure.
Right. So once we've stopped drinking, we can actually talk about it. Right. Exactly.
Yeah. So what do you miss most about Chicago? And
the food. I miss the food. And I miss, the community. I love the people that I knew in Chicago. I was there for 20 years at the Felines and Canines. And it was always really nice just to talk to the other, I call them the heads of the groups. And, and it's always just nice to collaborate and to commiserate. And, so I definitely miss that. And the food here is awful. I mean, they fry up, fresh vegetables. It's just terrible. So my staff, God bless them, every time we do a transport back, I get Lou Malnati's pizza. I get a whole bunch of stuff that I can't get. They send me lox and bagels. It's a super sweet thing. I get Fannie Mae candy. So that's the one thing. And I said to Kelly, when I'm ready to retire, I'm opening a hot dog cart. I'm just going to go sit in the Arsenal with a hot dog cart and make $1 kajillion and go. Yeah. So
you will. Totally.
That's it. Yeah. It's the food.
Yeah. So I know we were talking about some favorite stories that you recently had. So tell us about this group of cats.
Well, this woman has been an adopter of mine for over 20 years. Her name is Janet, and she is a lovely woman. And anytime I had a broken cat, and I mean special needs, legs on backwards, sometimes at the litter box, cerebellar hypoplasia, missing various body parts, I would call her because that's her thing. That's her gig. And she reached out to me to let me know that one of the last animals I placed with her just passed. And is there anybody that who would be good for their home? And, again, I'm here in Alabama, and I reached out to a few people, and I wound up finding 3 black cerebellar hypoplasia kittens that were about 3.5 months old that were in desperate need because they were on a euthanasia list. So I got them. And, 2 strikes against them. They're black. They have cerebellar hypoplasia, so they're wobbly, and, they run 2 feet and then fall over. And but they couldn't care less. It's the funniest thing. It's like you would think it would bother them, but they're just so happy and joyous that, falling down occasionally doesn't bother them at all. And they hit the litter box and do all the right things. So I set this up where I brought them into my program here, made sure that they were, healthy and looking good. And we had a special transport drive them to Chicago. We had a volunteer here that took them. And much to my surprise, when she went to get them, she fell in love with that little guy in the carrier. His name's Gingerbread. He's like a 5-year-old cerebellar hypoplasia, FIV positive cat that had just been languishing at Felines and Canines. And she's like, throw him in too. And it was a beautiful adoption for animals that were literally just, moments from death. I mean, that's how it goes for them.
Exactly. I mean, that is like the other thing that is so great about you being there is just that you can see these animals and say, oh, I have an adopter in Chicago that will love this animal would foster this animal, and you can literally hand pick them from there.
Some of the things that I do now, I'll tell people I'll personal shop for you. Like somebody reached out to me about having a special needs child, and that's amazing. I love that responsibility because I'm incredibly particular about who goes to a child, first of all. And I've had the experiences when I was still in Chicago of watching that, the matching make a difference. I had a lot of kids who were bullied and a lot of kids who weren't physically able that I placed animals with that changed their lives. And it was such an amazing, beautiful thing. So somebody just reached out to me, and I'm hunting right now for a dog that I think will be really great for their young toddler son who's got some physical limitations. And but yeah, I mean, they come to us and we make sure that they are good with others, good with people. It doesn't matter how old they are. It doesn't matter what color they are, mostly what breed they are. If they are friendly social animals, they are welcome to our program. And it's been really fun and physically exhausting doing this part of it. But it's interesting walking into these places where they are. And as much as you want to shoot yourself for not being able to take everybody, we celebrate every animal that we can pull and that comes into our system, and then, gets into like those 3 kittens. I mean, they were at our shelter for, 10 minutes before they were picked up, and they're in an amazing home now. And that was never going to happen. And it's an honor to be a part of this thing. And, 23 years in, I'm still kind of jazzed about it, which is stunning. You figure it'd be burnt out or ridiculously crazy, but so. Yeah. So
amazing. Can you take us down to the Alabama shelter just a little bit? How many animals can you house? Dogs and cats? Do you
Sure.
take small animals? How does it work there?
Yeah, so we have dogs and cats here, and we've got 53 kennels and 10 acres. We've got outdoor play yards and stuff like that. So everybody gets 3 walks a day and play yards for about 40 minutes each day. We can house, again, we've got 53 kennels in our one building. So depending, we've got, sometimes you get a litter of 11 puppies, and we can split them up into 4 kennels. But we can house probably up to 100 animals in there comfortably. And then we've got a room for cats that we can house about 20 in. And what I typically do with the cats, since they're they're less hardy than dogs, right? Dogs are really resilient, and they come in and they were eating out of a garbage can, and you give them some food and they're really grateful and happy, and their stomachs settle very quickly. Cats, you bring them in and they're like, I don't want to be in a shelter, and they freak out and they get sick and all that stuff. So what I have a tendency to do now is bring cats in through fosters and just bring them in like a day or two right before transport, so they don't get stressed out and sick. But dogs, we house anywhere up to, we can have anywhere between 50 and 100 in our building at any given time. And everybody's kennels get cleaned every morning, food, water twice a day. And it's really interesting, and it's quieter than you would think it would be, which means the world to me. I think they can feel our love. And, these animals, I will tell you one thing that every single one of them share is gratitude. Their personalities they are grateful to be out of where they were. We deal with a lot of tie outs here and stuff like that, and animals who haven't been touched very much or touched in a nice way. And they are really, man, it's beautiful to see them go from, survivor to companion. And I'm just thrilled to be, a small part of it.
I love that. So our dog Steve is from Alabama, and he was apparently kept jumping the fence. So the owner surrendered him, and One Tail picked him up. So he is like seriously the most loving dog. He doesn't love other dogs, but he loves humans so much, and like endlessly. It's so true. There's definitely special.
Yeah, I mean, a little goes a long way with them, and God bless them for being like forgetful, right? Yeah. Very few have I seen that hold on to what they could hold on to. I mean, we had a dog come through not too long ago, who was shot in the face. She was shot under here, and you think she'd be upset with us. I mean, she has every right to hate everybody. And the minute we fixed her jaw, she was so just happy-go-lucky and didn't fear us. And, it's going to sound ridiculous, but we have a lot of women on our staff here who, typical of animal welfare, who just, my God, throw down on these animals. And, even the worst situation is made better almost immediately with the love that, and the care that they get. But yeah, I'm really grateful for their sake that they have a seemingly short memory.
Yeah, I love it too.
Yeah.
So before I let you go, I wanted to talk about Odie because
Odie, my man. Yeah.
This story is just, following it and seeing him end up on your floor after being outside. Right. But tell us, because he's just the sweetest soul.
So he is my type of dog to a T. So I met him across the street. He was in a ditch across the street, just sitting there. And from what I understand, like, people haven't been able to touch him or go near him or anything for over a year. And I got him into our driveway with beef hearts. And then, July 2nd, like, he would start coming to us, and, we'd touch him a little bit and feed him and brush him and all that kind of stuff. But he wasn't really interested in coming in the house. And July 2nd, some big noise happened, and he ran in our house like a linebacker. And, he's been a part of our home since. And he goes out and wanders during the day, because that's, Odie's got a oat, and he runs around. He's got a best friend next door that he hangs with, and then he comes and sits in our driveway in front of our garage, And he's like, okay, it's time for me to come in now. And we had him neutered a couple weeks ago. And, you know, he's just this big, silly baby, you know, and he's sitting here right now and he loves the cats and he's got no issues with anybody. And he just kind of lays there. He's like, I'm just part of this. Yep.
I love that he
Odie's
loves
just
the
got
cats.
Oh my gosh, he loves everybody. And he's the biggest baby you've ever met. So anytime clap of thunder, he's at our, you know, he's banging on the door to come in. But he's such a joy to have. And he's just, he's ridiculously sweet. So I love this guy.
That was the one thing I loved on your page when it was storming. And I think he ran in and you're like, well, he's inside now.
Right. I'm like, what is happening here? And you know what? Again, this is where I think the gratitude comes in because, you know, he knows I grill all the time. I'm making steaks for the dogs. Everybody in the neighborhood knows I'm making steaks and chicken on the grill for the dogs. And he comes in and he's like, I swear to God, I promise you, I know I'm not neutered. I'm not going to pee in your house. I'm not going to make a mess. I'm not going to hump anybody. I'm just going to sit here like a good boy. Just throw me a little bit of steak. And he's been amazing. And again, this is one of those, I don't know that anybody's ever touched him. Even neighbors now come over and they're like, you have the white dog in your house? And we're like, yeah, his name's Odie. And, you know, he's just, again, you know, the resiliency and the opportunity to love and accept things. He jumped into bed yesterday morning. So I don't know. It's, he's happy being the domesticated boy that can, you know, roam the acreage. So
yeah,
it's been great. Yeah.
Perfect companion for you guys. I love it. Thank you, Abby. Thank you for everything you do in Chicago and now Alabama. I can't thank you enough. I know you've helped me with some cats. You're like my cat person, like Katie Campbell.
I'm great with that.
Has you on speed dial, I know.
Yeah, I'm all good with that. That's great.
Yeah, I love it.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thank you so much. Keep up the great work, and we'll catch up again in a few months. I would love to hear from you again.
I would love it. You take good care. Thank you.
All right, bye. Abby, everybody from Felines and Canines, please go check them out. Supporting sponsors, you're up.
Thank you to the following supporting sponsors. Kimberly Kingan Photography. Give the gift of joy this holiday season and memorable moments of furry loved ones with a gift card for Kimberly Kingan Photography. For more details, visit her website at www.kimberlykingan.com. The Canine PT is Chicago's highest rated dog physical therapy clinic, and they are dedicated to enhancing the lives of your four-legged companions as they age or when recovering from an injury. Give the gift of pain relief and extended mobility to your furry friends this holiday season. They offer a discount for rescue dogs. For more information, visit thecaninept.com. Anything is Possible is Chicago's premier dog training company. They offer group classes for every single stage of your dog's life. They have a talented team of behavior specialists to work through any issues that need modification using positive reinforcement.
Thank you, sponsors. Thank you, Abby Smith from Felines and Canines. Please go check them out. Amazing work they do. See you guys next week. Bye.